Welcome everyone to another episode of Storybook Mondays. So, Storybook Mondays is the show where we read books from various youth reading levels, and hopefully you guys enjoy. So today we're going to be reading the Mousa Code. Alright. So, let's get to it. The Mousa Code by Geronimo Stilton. Interesting. Alright. Dear mouse friends, welcome to the world of Geronimo Stilton. Okay. Move this up a little bit. There we go. And then I'm assuming these are, that's the editorial staff of the Rodents Gazette. So, pretty cool. Alright. This book is called the Mousa Code. Alrighty. First page. I am not a brave mouse. Alright. Mousehole, sweet mousehole, I said with a sigh. It was late at night and I was glad to be home. But as I scampered up the stairs, I immediately knew something was wrong. Why was the door open? I knew I had locked it in the morning. And why was there a light upstairs in the window? I always turn off the lights when I leave the house. I tiptoed through the door, quiet as a mouse. I padded down the dark hallway. I stopped at the kitchen door and poked my snout around the corner. The fridge was wide open. Someone must have broken in. I was sure of it. Oh no. Above the picture says, I can't even go to a scary movie without turning as pale as a slice of Swiss cheese. I shuddered. I must admit, I'm a bit of a fraidy mouse. I can't even go to a scary movie without turning as pale as a slice of Swiss cheese. After I watched Nightmare on Cat Street, I couldn't sleep for a week. Suddenly, just like in the movies, a shadow appeared in the kitchen wall. On the kitchen wall, sorry. Then I heard strange sounds. Someone gurgling, munching, chomping. I slowly backed away from the door. But the shadow moved toward me. My heart was pounding like a rat who just ran a mouseathon. I dashed behind the curtains to hide. Would the intruder find me? My 15th century rhymes. A greasy hand moved the curtain aside. The mouse bumps broke all over my body. I like how they use mouse terms for this. Goosebumps, mouse bumps. I was about to be snout to snout with the intruder, and it was my cousin Trap. Hi there, he shouted. Aren't you happy to see me, cousin Skin? Happy? I've been scared out of my wits. You sneaked into my house. I squeaked. Don't get your fur frazzled, Geronimo, Trap said. He had crumbs all over his shirt and a piece of pie in one paw. I was passing by and saw that one of your windows was open, so I said to myself, why not pay a good old Germaster a surprise visit? Surprise visit, I cried. You almost gave me a heart attack. Trap chuckled. You need to relax, Jerry Berry, he said. You're as nervous as a rat at a cat convention. Trap whipped his snout on my velvet curtain. I must say, this cheese and pickle pie is scrumptious. It melts in the mouth. Paws off, I shrieked. That is a very old curtain. I don't mind if it's old. Any rag will do, Trap smirked, wiping his snout again. Then, before I could stop, Trap parked his chubby body in the expensive antique chair. It had cost me as much as a year's worth of cheddar. No, I screamed. Too late. The chair smashed into a dozen pieces. Trap crashed to the floor. My chair, I yelled. As he fell, Trap knocked down a glass display cabinet. It held my treasured collection of antique cheese rinds. They spilled out onto the floor. My 15th century rinds, I moaned. Trap bit off another piece of pie. Don't you know why I'm here? He asked, spraying crumbs all over me. I couldn't take it anymore. I don't want to know, I said. Get out! And do me a favor, eat with your snout shut. Interesting. Tuck, tuck. You really are too fond of your antiques, Trap said. Shouldn't you be more worried about me? After all, I am your own fur and blood. Well, never mind. I'll tell you my news anyways. Trap winked at me. Then he leaned over and whispered in my ear, I have a great story for you. For that little news rag you put out. I was insulted. You mean my newspaper? The Rodents Gazette? The most respected newspaper on Mouse Island? Whatever, Trap said. I've got a scoop for you that will make everyone's whiskers stand on end. I can tell you this much. It's about Mouse Island's most famous painting, the Mousa. My name is Stilton Geronimo Stilton. My cousin might be annoying, but he does have a good nose for a story. An article about Mona Mousa was the cat's whiskers. You see, I know a thing or two about good stories. I run a publishing house, the Stilton Publishing Company. We put out the Rodents Gazette. Oh, silly me. I haven't introduced myself. My name is Stilton, Geronimo Stilton. I told my cousin to meet me at my office the next morning, 8 o'clock sharp. 12 hours later, Trap bounced into the office without bothering to knock, as usual. He rested his greasy paws on my desk, as usual. Then he squeaked with his mouth full as usual. Let's talk. I noticed with disgust that Trap was munching on something as usual. This time, it was a multi-decker sandwich. Only Trap could eat such a super stuffed sandwich so early in the morning. I'll give you the dirt on the Mona Mousa affair, Trap began. When the story hits big, we'll split the profits equally, 70% for me and 30% for you. You call that equal? I asked. Is money all that you care about? Trap grumbled. Alright. Out of goodness in my heart, we'll do 60% for me and 40% for you. Then, the door of my office flew open. My sister Thea, the special correspondent for the Rodent Gazette, came roaring in on her motorcycle. I heard what you two were talking about, Thea said. I'll tell you how to split the profits. 1/3 for me, 1/3 for each of you. Why should we cut you a slice of the profits? Trap demanded. Thea leaned on the desk, smiling slyly. Because I know something about the Mona Mousa that you don't, she sang, taunting us. That didn't surprise me one bit. If something exciting is happening on Mouse Island, Thea is usually the first one to hear about it. Trap frowned. Alright, he mumbled. We'll split the profits 3 ways. But I get to keep the television rights and the movie rights, and Thea folded her arms firmly. No deal, Trap. We divide everything equally or I won't squeak. Trap sighed. Fine, but only because I am a true gentle mouse. Let's shake on it. Just then, a voice rang out. Me too, me too. I looked down to see Benjamin, my 9-year-old nephew, tugging at my sleeve. Too late. There are no extra shares, Trap said quickly. You can keep the money, Benjamin said. I don't care about that. Benjamin looked up at me. Please, Uncle Geronimo, let me help you. I want us to be together. I was moved to tears. All right, Mousy Pie, you can help, I said. I patted the top of his tiny head. You see, Benjamin is my favorite nephew. The Telltale Tavern. Trap began his story. Do you remember that friend of mine I used to play pool with, he asked? The one with the scar on his tail and a black patch on one eye? His name is Lefty Limburger. Last Sunday I was playing pool with Lefty at the Telltale Tavern. Have you ever been there? I frowned. I'd rather eat a piece of moldy cheese than be seen in that place. You don't know what you're missing, Trap said. Each night there's something exciting going on. Yesterday there was a wrestling match between a karate black belt and a pool champion. You should have seen it. The black belt paws were flying, but then the pool champ started slapping him with slices of Swiss cheese. Get to the point, Thea said. Well, I met up with my old friend Lefty, and he told me a secret, Trap began. He lowered his voice. You see, my niece is a friend of Mousa's cousin, and she lives next to the brother-in-law of one of the guards at the museum, Museum. Well, he told the brother-in-law, who told the Mousa's cousin, who told Lefty's niece, who told Lefty, who told you what? I asked, growing impatient. Get your tail in a twist. Don't get your tail in a twist, Jerry, said Trap, smirking. That's what I'm about to tell you. The museum guard said that Mousa had been taken to a lab to be x-rayed, and that can only mean one thing. There's something hidden underneath the painting. Thea has a new boyfriend again. Now it was Thea's turn. She smoothed her fur and began her story. Do you remember my boyfriend? She asked. The one with the blue eyes and the blonde fur. He always wears cheddar cologne. You mean the one who lives in a castle and is allergic to blue cheese? I asked. No, my sister snapped. I got rid of that one ages ago. I tried again. Is it the one who owns a cheese factory? No, Thea said impatiently. He's ancient history. We broke up 6 months ago. I give up, I said. Thea has had so many boyfriends, I would need 6 extra paws to count them all. Well, now I have a new boyfriend, Thea said. His name is Frick Tapioca, and he's a museum art expert. He told me a secret. While they were restoring the Mona Mouse, Frick discovered that there is another painting underneath the surface. He is examining the extra results right now. 9 minutes flat. Minutes later, we all bundled into Theo's yellow sports car, reached the museum in 9 minutes flat. Only 9 minutes from the office to the museum, Thea said proudly. That's my new record. I was shaking like a mouse who's been cornered by a hungry cat. I used to think horror movies were scary, but Thea's driving was even scarier. Holy cheese, I'm going to have a heart attack and know it, I squeaked. You should never run a red light like that, you know. The truck was so close, I was sure it would chop off my tail. Trap, of course, was impressed. Not bad, cousin, he told Thea. Although, I'm sure I could have done better. I bet I could have made it in 8.5 minutes. Thea revved the engine. Oh yeah? I accept your challenge. Let's do it again. Oh no you don't. Let me out, I cried. I leaped out of the car. My legs felt like jelly. I know one thing for sure, I mumbled. I'll never get in a car with you mice again. I'm too fond of my fur. The Mona Mouse could squeak. If the Mona Mouse could squeak. The museum was enormous. The ground floor housed ancient relics like mummies from Egypt and fragments of old cheese pots. The second floor held display paintings of old masters like Botticelli and Jean van Eyck. The gallery of modern art was on the third floor. I recently visited there to see the famous painting of cans of cheese soup by modern artist Radi Mashoul. I'm not sure if I liked it, but it did make me hungry. As we climbed the marble staircase to the second floor, I told Benjamin the story of Mona Mousa. The portrait was painted in 1504 by great painter and scientist Masardo de Munchi. The Mona Mousa smile was very mysterious, I explained. It's almost as if she knows a secret. I wonder what Mona Mousa would say if she could speak. Squeak, Benjamin said. Maybe she is smiling because she knows about the hidden painting. We climbed to the next floor. The gallery of modern art was all chrome-plated steel and glass. We won't be on this floor long, Thea teased. I know you don't like art unless it's older than one of Grandfather William's whiskers. Just then, a mouse dressed in all black approached us. He wore a pair of round glasses perched on top of his snout. It was the famous art critic Artsy Fartsy Fur. I disliked him on sight. Darling, he shouted, running towards Thea. Darling, she replied. The two of them kissed each other, both on the cheeks. What a phony, grumbled Trap, with his mouth full. He had already found the snack bar and was munching on a frozen cheesicle. We're here to work, not to chat. Goodbye, darling, Thea waved to Artie. Then she led us up one more flight of stairs to the 4th floor. That's where the museum's office and lab were. When we got to the lab, we were greeted by a very shy yet charming mouse. It was Frick Tapioca, my sister's current boyfriend. Frick looked startled. Thea, he stammered. I didn't expect to see you. How's the research on the painting coming? Thea asked. Frick frowned. I can't squeak about it. That's top secret information. Thea stroked Frick's ear. There's no secrets between us, are there, my little niblet? She croned. Frick's fur went red. What would you like to know? Everything, now, Thea demanded. Well, Frick hesitated. Then he looked over at Trap, Benjamin, and me. Who are these people? Thea's voice turned sugary again. They're my family. You can trust them, she said. Last week, I started to restore the Mousa, Frick whispered. I scratched a fragment of paint off the canvas and realized there was another painting underneath. I had the painting x-rayed. My hunch was right. Masardo the Munchie created a hidden painting underneath the Mona Mousa. Frick produced a CD from under his white lab coat. The hidden painting shows 11 objects. He said, I used a computer to reconstruct them. They're all on this disc. Thea quickly grabbed the CD from him. Thank you, my sweet, she said. I'll just borrow this for a little while. You'll get it back the next time we see each other. Frick beamed. I'll see you again soon, then? When? He cleared his throat. How about tonight? Thea stroked Frick's ear again. I'm busy tonight, my sweet. But maybe next week. Or the week after that. Just then, the museum's curator, Simeon Starchfur, came by. He was tall and lean, distinguished-looking mouse. He wore a blue bow tie and a red vest, complete with a gold watch and chain. Starchfur kissed my sister's paw. Good day to you, Miss Stilton. What brings you here? He inquired politely. Good morning. What a pleasure to see you again, Thea squeaked. Please forgive me, I must run. Goodbye. We followed Thea down the stairs and back to the street. Then everyone followed her into her sports car. Everyone but me, that is. I decided to take a taxi. I'm too fond of my fur. Thea's mirror. When we got back to the office, we locked ourselves in. We had a lot of work to do. Since we'll be working on this all night, Trap grumbled, I better order some food. Trap picked up the phone. Give me your mega huge pizza, I heard him say. No, make that the super deluxe mega huge pizza. Make it extra spicy and bill it to my cousin Geronimo. I laughed. I hate spicy food, but I didn't feel like arguing with Trap. We had a lot of work to do. I can help, Uncle, Benjamin said. He sat down at the computer and inserted a CD. Images appeared on the screen. Frick had taken the x-ray of the hidden picture and colored it in with a computer. We can make out 11 mysterious objects. There was a statue, a fountain, and a crown, but the rest of the items were hard to identify. But then I noticed tiny writing on the bottom of the screen. What's that? I asked, pointing. Benjamin enlarged the words so we could read them. Find to yours are place 11 It's all backwards. The writing didn't make any sense. It looked like some kind of lost language. Then Thea's eye lit up. I think I've got it, she said. She took out a mirror with her purse and placed it in front of the writing. As if by magic, the words suddenly became clear. 11 places are yours to find, 11 letters you must combine. One single word will give you the key to solve the mystery I give to thee. I know, Uncle, Benjamin said, his voice filled with excitement. The 11 pictures must represent 11 places in New Mouse City. There must be a letter hidden at each place. We must have to visit each of the places to solve the mystery. By cheese, I think he's got it, I exclaimed. What do you think, Trap? But Trap wasn't paying attention. He was munching on the super deluxe mega huge pizza and watching cartoons on the TV in my office. You can give us a paw, you know, Thea scolded. Why should you get equal profits if you don't do equal work? But Trap didn't budge. You take care of the brainy end of the operation, I'll take care of the business end, he said. So without Trap's help, we worked through the night. We leafed through old books about history of Mouse Island. We examined map after map. Finally, we were able to identify 11 places. Alright, let me get a drink. Alright, the 11 objects. The pelican's pillar, the tail measure, the seal of Moslicis, the goblet of silver rodent, the fountain of cheddar, the cat's rock, the arched ceiling, the crown of Princess Angarat, curly fur, the pool at the ancient baths, the sundial, the statue of Emirates Mouse. The pelican pillar. This won't be easy, I said. We need to visit each of the 11 places and search for a letter hidden in each one to solve the mystery. That's like searching for a needle in a stack of string cheese. Trap smiled confidently. Don't get your fur in a tangled cousin skin, he said. I've got friends all over town. You name it, and I'll tell you how to find it. All right, then. How about the pelican's pillar, I asked. It's somewhere in the fish market. But where? No problem, Trap said. I'm a legend at the fish market. I'm famous as a great shark hunter. I rolled my eyes. From the way my cousin talks, you'd think he captured Jaws. Go to the squid stalls and ask for coral cockle, Trap continued. Tell her Trap sent you. She'll take you where you need to go. Thea and I headed to the fish market together. As we approached, we heard the loud squeaks of fish sellers. The market was packed with stalls of fisher mice selling seafood. I had never seen so many fish in one place. There were tuna and flounder, crabs and lobsters, clams and oysters, even squids and sharks. I began to feel nervous. The fish seemed to be glaring at me with their creepy, bulging eyes. I was so anxious I didn't notice a nearby fish seller about to dump a bucket of seawater over his fish to keep them fresh. All of a sudden, splash! The salty water drenched me. Jumping gerbil babies, I cried. My suit was ruined. Thea shook her head. You should be more careful, she scolded. It wasn't my fault, I protested. I stepped toward Thea and slipped on a fishbone and fell flat on my back, knocking into a fish stall. A giant tuna plopped into my arms. Should I wrap that up for you? The fish seller asked. What? No way, I said. By now, a crowd had gathered. They seemed to think my fish problems were funny. Everyone's staring at us, Thea whispered. Oh, Jerry Berry, why do you always have to make a scene? I told you, it's not my fault, I cried. I stood up and backed right into an octopus. Slimy tentacles wrapped around my neck. I give up, I squeaked. That's a big fish. That mouse is something else. A female fish seller stormed up to me. Paws off my octopus, she shouted angrily. I pushed the tentacles off me, shuddering. You must be Coral, Thea said, smiling. Don't pay any attention to my brother. He's a terrible klutz. I couldn't take it anymore, but it was her slimy octopus that. Thea grabbed me in the ribs. We need her help, she whispered to me. Then she turned back to Coral. Our cousin Trap said you can help us, Thea said. Coral's face lit up. He didn't... Why didn't you say so? That mouse is something else, sharper than a block of aged cheddar. We hear he's quite good with sharks too, I said, hoping to find out the truth behind Trap's tall tales. Sharks? You mean anchovies, don't you? She giggled. Unless you don't know the difference between a shark and an anchovy. Of course I began indignantly, but Thea grabbed me in the ribs again. Coral reached into her pocket and took out a greasy picture. It showed Trap holding a trophy. Trap is the anchovy-eating champion, she said dreamily. $353 in 1 minute. Amazing. That's our cousin, Thea said. He told us we should see the Pelican's Pillar on our visit. Can you take us to it? Coral nodded. She led us through the stalls to a tall marble column near the water's edge. We could see the carvings of pelicans on the top column. Each bird held a fish in its beak. We examined the column carefully. Was there a letter hidden there somewhere? Then I saw it. One of the fish tails was different than the others. It was clearly shaped like the letter Y. Do you see it? I asked Thea. My sister nodded. You know, it's strange, Coral remarked. A little old lady came by around 6 o'clock this morning. She asked to see the pelican pillars too. Thea raised an eyebrow. What did she look like? She asked. She took out a pen and paper and began taking notes. Coral tried to remember. She wore a red scarf with blue dots. She carried a basket of apples. We made a trade, an octopus for an apple, she said. She took out an apple out of her pocket and bit into it. Well, we said goodbye to Coral. Tell Trap to come visit sometime, she called after us. Back at the office, Thea drew a picture of the old lady. Very strange, I thought. I was glad that we had solved the first clue of the Mousa mystery. But who was this elderly mouse? Was she trying to crack the code too? And we will end it there on page 42. And we will continue the Mousa code in the next episode of Storybook Mondays. So thank you everyone for joining me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and we will continue it next time.